All you saw was the tight spiral coming, and it was quiet. No one said anything. You were just watching the spiral in the air, and then
The Carson Banning rivalry was really, really good in the 70s through the 80s. I was on those teams 77 through 1980 for Carson.
Banning Carson rivalry only because the kids that we drew in from our school went to Carnegie High School, and they lived in the same area. They were neighbors, and so they went to the same junior high school, but they left from Carnegie. Half went to Banning and half went to Carson. Luckily, we got Michael Allo and Danny Andrews from Carnegie High School to play at Banning, and so that was good. But Gene Vogel and me were always at the Carnegie All-Star games, watching the kids practice and play. Afterwards, he talked to his guys, I talked to our guys. Because their coaches at Carnegie says, if you're going to Banning, see Coach Ferragamo. If you're going to Carson, see Coach Volnagel.
I went to Curtis Junior High School. So back then, when Carson and Banning would play, you would see the kids walking the school grounds, walking inside the hallways. Certain kids would say Banning, certain kids would say Carson. Just during the recess periods, exchanging when we transfer classes, you were just Carson, Banning, Carson, Banning. The excitement built up from you when you were in junior high school. So you looked forward to the time when you will finally get to high school to be able to be involved in that tradition. So you talk about history, you talk about pride. It was something that we were all involved in growing up, and it was an awesome, great experience.
Well, that era was it was special because it was a close relationship between Banning and Carson, especially for me. Like, I went to Wilmington Junior High, so I knew people on both sides. So yeah, I really enjoyed that time for the Carson and Banning era.
Cordova, Banning High School, class of '87. The games at Veterans were played. I remember playing midday on a Saturday. Very hot. And for Vet Stadium, if you're familiar with that venue, it's just one giant side of stands. All the overflow went to the track. Veteran Stadium then had a track, and I can remember standing on the track watching these big boys play. I'm like, oh my God, just in awe of these kids. Or they were men to me. Now I look at them as kids. So it was a different. They were like pro ball players. That's how I saw those games.
The excitement for watching the Carson Banning game went well beyond any capacity that a high school stadium could hold, because it wasn't just the fans of both teams. The city wanted to see it. If these were the best schools in the city, in the state, in the country, if you went to Manularis, if you went to Dorsey, well, let's see this team. Let's see these athletes. Let's see these people get down. Let's see how we compare. Can we topple these giants? We can see that Gardena, Fremont, Palisades, they can't do it, but maybe we can. So everyone was curious. So Saturday served such a big purpose to have these two Titans play on that day. In fact, even the college stadiums could not contain the crowds. They got them where I think at Long Beach Vets, it got to a point where they would admit everybody, and then they started to stand the people around the field just so they can witness the game. So it was an event. It was an event. All the pictures that you see, if you see anything that's circa 1978, whatever, if you look at the pictures, you can see the crowd in the background. These were well-attended events, not well-attended games. There is a difference. There is a game, and then when Carson and Banning played, it was an event. You were watching some of the best competing athletes in high school football at that time, warring it out, seeing who was going to be the victor that year to have bragging rights. And that wasn't even the championship game.
They hated Banning and Carson enough to where when they came back, it was like, he brought me. That was their thing. You know what I'm saying? Dina's in the house. Lyndon Early, defensive back, played cornerback my senior year, free safety my junior year. class of 1985. This is the mystique that I think separated that era from our era right now. I think what happened was, even where I coached in Georgia, right? My last high school was Collins Hill High School. That's where Travis Hunter is, the guy that flipped the script and went to Jackson State. He was going to Florida State, and then he flipped and went to a HBCU, and everybody started following suit. That was my last place coaching. My pastor actually played for Clemson on the first national championship team. So when he talks about that team, you talk about guys like Montel Hatcher. Montel Hatcher left where he was and went to Taft when Taft JC was doing their thing. Well, he played there with my boy, my frat brother, Big Chuck. So Chuck Hardaway went to Centennial. So you got Montel's at Taft, Chuck's at Taft. They're doing great things because Taft was a powerful program, right? But when you think about people like them that went to other programs, it was one guy that came out of Centennial, pretty much, right? You think about wherever Montel came from, it was one guy. You think about Refrigerator Perry, it was one guy. You think about Aaron Emanuel at Courts Hill, it was one guy. Robert Green, he was out at Riverside. They had a couple of guys, but he was the one guy, right? So when you start talking about these guys, man, that did these great things, my boy Maniac from Shotgun, from Lock, one guy. You start talking about Carson and Banning, man, Jamel Holloway, you got Leroy Hope, you got Sam Southern, you got Prince Payne, you got Courtney, and then mention the coach, one of the greatest high school coaches of all time, you got Ferragamo. Same thing with Carson. You got the great Gene Vonagel, and then you got Derek, right? Smith, and then you got Melvin Smith, and you got Derek, and then you got Roy Tavui, and you got Leroy Ollie, and you got Carl Thompson, and you got Dwayne Smith, and you got all of these guys, man, Moreland, and so all of these guys. So when you mention these guys, you don't even know their numbers. You know their names.
He is one of the finest quarterbacks ever, option quarterbacks, no doubt about it. Barry Switzer came to our place and says, we're going to trade our quarterback to UCLA. We want Jamel Holloway at Oklahoma because he runs the option so good.
Once Jamel got the ball, you wanted him to can somebody just get, it made you uncomfortable. Will somebody just get him? And he would not go down. Didn't matter who was tackling him, he would get out of it and keep moving the doggone ball. He was annoying to watch as a competing athlete as opposed to just a fan.
But Jamel had that little sense of he was very cunning in how he optioned the ball, very precise, didn't make any mistakes, could call plays very, very well. Because see, one thing about our school and our football team is that we audibilized at the line of scrimmage. We huddled up, we went to the line of scrimmage, and after we said down, teams would stem. Stem means they would move on defense. When Jamel would see him move to the right, Jamel would change the play, going to the left. Move to the left, Jamel would go to the right. He called all the audibles, and the audibles were perfect. So that was one of the things. He was very smart and very agile. Him and Sam Sutherland. Sam was his buddy, and he threw the ball to Sam a lot. Leroy Holt's a fullback. Oh, gosh, so many great things with Jamel. 2 weeks before we played the final game, Coach Barreras was already ordering the championship jackets. Before we even played the game. I mean, that's how confident our kids were going into the game.
This is at the Coliseum. I mean, everybody's there. And we didn't fill the Coliseum up, but I'm quite sure we had a good, 40,000 people at that game. So it's well attended. And I won't forget it. I don't think anybody who watched the game can forget this particular play. Is when Banning just scored a touchdown. Now their crowd is getting into it. Their band is playing loud. And anybody who grew up at the time that we went to high school knows the song So Hard. Bands didn't even compete against each other who could play that song the best. When you got that song playing, the crowd's making noise, they're holding up their Banning flyer. They already beat Carson earlier, handily. And Carson's back in their own end zone on the 6-yard line. Didn't look good. He didn't look good at all. Again, I'm not rooting for Carson. I wanted to see number 11 do something special. The very next play, noise is going, you're feeling bad, you see it, and I play safety, so I can't help but see a play unfold. I saw the play unfold, and I saw there's a receiver about to get open, and sure enough, it's a foot race, and Carl launched the ball. All you saw was the tight spiral coming, and it was quiet. No one said anything. You were just watching this spiral in the air, and then 6 points. Banning was shut the blank down. It was mayhem is all over on this side of the field. It's a mortuary on the other side. Absolute silence, but mayhem on this side of the field. Now, please understand, the city championship game does not just include only Carson and Banning fans. These are fans from Crenshaw, Dorsey, Manual Arts, all over the city, jumping up and down for a team that wasn't even theirs. Why? Because a Titan was being dethroned. That's what people need to understand about the Carson Banning rivalry. It wasn't just the city championship. Can you dethrone that Titan? And at that time, it was Banning. Banning was the Titan. Could we bring them down? And what we just witnessed was 6 points. And then they got another 6 points. And what was it, 33-20? My cousin went 19 for 26, 331 yards passing. I think that record wasn't broken until Walsh did it later, something like that. But my cousin put out a performance. But again, what did he have on his side? Two of the best receivers in the city. One went to the NFL, Derek Hill. Derek Hill went to the University of Arizona, tore it up there. Went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, tore it up there.
I didn't expect 5 receivers to come off the back, out of the formation. We expected doubles, we expected a triple or double slot set, typical Carson slot set with split backs. But they came out with some different formations and threw the ball like crazy. They were throwing the ball all the time. And we had a hard time defending the formations that they had shown us, because prior games, they didn't show us that. We hadn't seen that. Coach Vonnegut come out with some weird stuff, but it was great stuff. And that year, the quarterback, and they torched us pretty good.
Carson Banning rivalry was so big because it was like brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor. We all grew up in the same neighborhood. Some of us went to the same junior high, and after junior high, we all like kind of split, Carson or Banning, depending on where you lived in the city of Carson, right? So the competition, the skill level, great athletes on both sides. So it was an even type of deal, because at that time, Banning bused kids from the west side of Carson to Banning, right? So the competition level was very high, and we all would meet up somewhere and talk crap to each other. And it just was a friendly rivalry for years and years and years, and still runs deep. I think it's probably one of the oldest high school rivalries in U.S. history. I think so, at least in California. I went from 83 to 86. Well, I graduated in 86. So the 85 season would be my senior year, because football is in the fall, right before it turns to 86, right? So we lost in the league 6-0, right? So we were the first team to go. We went 9-3. We lost 2 in a row. We were the first team to lose two games in a row at Banning. And so we got all the crap. People was talking about us, counting us out. Oh, you guys are nothing. We're the no-name team. We really didn't have any stars. So we ran, after that Carson lost, it was early in our season, we ran the table. We beat everybody in our league. And then we ran through the playoffs. So then by the time we got to Carson, we were peaked. We were on a high. And so we ended up winning that game 21-6. And every time I talked to one of my Carson friends, I said, well, what about that 85 championship though? Right? Can't say anything. So I have that to take with me forever. And I still, some of those guys on that team, we still are close, we still talk, we're still like friends on Facebook, Instagram, all that type of stuff. So we're very close, we're brothers, and a lot of guys from that team went on to play at the college level. And so that set the next team up to be ranked #1 in the nation.
Played friends, but for that game, we were enemies. And we played at a high level. You know, you playing at Long Beach Vet amongst 20,000 people in the stands, and the bands were great. Both bands, Carson, Banning, and we just had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun at that time.
It was like you were in college at the time, participating in a college environment. We had that in high school.
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This is my city, yeah, this is my team. If you talking, it's talking me nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better get right, I'm champion.
As orphan kids, we always felt like outcasts, even from our own families. Born and raised by my grandmother in Watts Nickerson Garden, who had a candy house on 112th Street. It wasn't until one day my Aunt Linda came over, picked up a football, and said, "Play catch with me." Now you have to understand, Aunt Linda was a fine, high-yellow, sporty woman who knew all about sports. She taught me how to grip the ball, how to throw a spiral, and pretty much how to drop back. She knew it. After my mom died, football became my life.
Okay.
Probably the final play of the game in regulation.
Looking to throw, and he throws into the end zone.
Carl Jr.
You're rocking with the best.
All right, here we go. It is 1580 KDAY, live from Los Angeles, California. The question that everybody's asking, who's going to win that Southern California 4A City Championship game? Is it going to be Carson or will it be Banning? You tell me. I'm going to open up those phone lines and let you in.
This is Candy Girl calling from Wilmington. Go Banning Pilots!
All I know is it's so hard to be a Colt. This is Charlie Mack calling from the DA. Carson beat Banning? No way.
Banning Pilots, can't you see? Carson Colts will take cities.
This is Star calling from San Pedro.